Every football fan remembers the trophies, the goals, the finals, but history isn't always changed by the biggest moments. Sometimes it's a fax machine, a rejected teenager, a red card, or even a piece of paper signed on a napkin. Tiny moments that completely rewrote football history. Today we're counting down 5 butterfly effects that changed football forever. And trust me, number 1 will blow your mind. Number 5. Chelsea's paperwork error changed Europe. It was summer deadline day in 2023. Hakim Ziyech was already preparing to become a Paris Saint-Germain player. Chelsea had agreed to the deal. PSG had agreed. The player had agreed. Everything was done, except Chelsea submitted the paperwork incorrectly. Not once, multiple times. By the time the correct documents arrived, the transfer window had already slammed shut. The move collapsed. At first, it seemed like nothing more than an embarrassing administrative mistake. But football history had already started changing. PSG still needed a winger. A few weeks later, they signed Ousmane Dembélé from Barcelona. At the time, many fans questioned the decision. Dembélé had spent years battling injuries. His talent was never in doubt. His availability was. But Luis Enrique saw something different. Dembélé became the perfect weapon in PSG's attack. His pace stretched defenses, his creativity unlocked games, and he played a crucial role in helping PSG finally conquer Europe. One forgotten email, one missed deadline, one paperwork mistake, and PSG's entire transfer strategy changed. Sometimes football history isn't decided on the pitch. Sometimes it's decided in an office. Number 4. The Kung Fu Kick that built a dynasty. It was January 25, 1995. Crystal Palace versus Manchester United. Eric Cantona loses his temper. After being sent off, he launches himself into the crowd with one of the most infamous Kung Fu kicks in sports history. The punishment? An 8-month suspension. For most clubs, losing their best player would have been a disaster. For Manchester United, it became an opportunity. Sir Alex Ferguson suddenly had no choice but to trust his academy. David Beckham, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville, Phil Neville, Nicky Butt. Alongside Ryan Giggs, they became the heart of United's future. Within a few years, they won league after league. Then came 1999, the treble, Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup. One angry kick created one of football's greatest dynasties. Number 3. The rejection that created Real Madrid's greatest midfielder. Before Luka Modric became a Ballon d'Or winner, before he won 6 Champions League titles, he was offered to Barcelona. Several scouts admired the Croatian midfielder, but inside the club, doubts remained. He was too small, too skinny. Could he survive Spanish football? Barcelona decided not to move. Real Madrid didn't hesitate. In 2012, they signed him. His first season was difficult. Some newspapers even labeled him one of La Liga's worst signings. Fast forward a decade, 6 Champions Leagues, a Ballon d'Or, hundreds of unforgettable performances. He became the heartbeat of Real Madrid's greatest European era. Meanwhile, Barcelona spent years searching for the next Xavi and Iniesta. One scouting decision shifted the balance of power in Spain. Number 2. The transfer that created the Messi versus Ronaldo era. In the summer of 2003, Barcelona wanted one man, David Beckham. Fresh off winning the Premier League with Manchester United, Beckham was Joan Laporta's dream signing. But there was one problem. Real Madrid. Florentino Perez hijacked the deal, adding Beckham to the Galacticos. Barcelona had lost their biggest transfer target, so they moved to Plan B, a Brazilian magician playing for Paris Saint-Germain, Ronaldinho. Ironically, Manchester United had also been chasing Ronaldinho that summer. But after Barcelona secured his signature, Sir Alex Ferguson turned his attention elsewhere. A skinny 18-year-old from Sporting CP. Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldinho transformed Barcelona. Cristiano transformed Manchester United. A few years later, Ronaldinho passed the torch to a young Lionel Messi. And soon, football belonged to Messi and Ronaldo for the next 15 years. All because Barcelona couldn't sign David Beckham. It's time for an honorable mention before we move to number one. A napkin saved football history. It was September 2000. A 13-year-old boy from Rosario arrived in Barcelona. Lionel Messi. He's incredibly talented. But there's a problem. He suffers from a growth hormone deficiency. His family can't afford treatment. Barcelona hesitate. Without a contract, Messi might have returned to Argentina. Then came one of football's most famous moments. Sporting director Carlos Rexach grabbed the nearest thing he could find, a paper napkin. On it, he promised Barcelona would sign Lionel Messi. That tiny piece of paper changed everything. Barcelona paid for his treatment. Messi stayed. The rest almost sounds fictional. Over 800 career goals, 8 Ballon d'Ors, 4 Champions Leagues, 2 Copa America, and a World Cup. Without one signature, none of it happens. Number 1. The injury that won Argentina the World Cup. Sometimes one injury doesn't just change a season. It changes an entire nation's history. For nearly a decade, Emiliano Martínez was Arsenal's forgotten goalkeeper. He joined the club in 2010, but year after year, he was sent out on loan. Oxford, Sheffield Wednesday, Rotherham, Wolves, Getafe, Reading. By 2020, he'd played only a handful of Premier League games. His Arsenal career looked over. Then, everything changed. In June 2020, Arsenal's first-choice goalkeeper, Bernd Leno, suffered a serious knee injury against Brighton. Just like that, Arsenal had no choice. They turned to the backup, Emiliano Martínez. It was the opportunity he'd waited 10 years for, and he didn't waste it. Martinez was sensational. He helped Arsenal win the FA Cup. He produced save after save. For the first time, the football world saw what Arsenal had been hiding on their bench. But there was one problem. Leno was recovering, and Martinez knew he didn't want to spend another decade as a backup. So Aston Villa came calling. Arsenal accepted. Many thought it was just another goalkeeper transfer. It wasn't. At Villa, Martinez became one of the Premier League's best goalkeepers. His performances became impossible for Argentina to ignore. He earned the number 1 shirt. Then came Qatar. Against the Netherlands, penalty shootout hero. Against France, that unbelievable save from Kolo Muani in the 123rd minute. Then another penalty shootout. Argentina lifted the World Cup. Lionel Messi completed football, and Emiliano Martinez became a national hero. Now imagine, if Bernd Leno never gets injured, Martinez probably never gets his chance. Maybe Arsenal never sell him. Maybe he never becomes Argentina's first-choice goalkeeper. Maybe someone else stands in goal in Qatar. Maybe that save against Kolo Muani never happens. Maybe Messi never wins the World Cup. One injury, one opportunity, one goalkeeper, changed football forever. Football history isn't always written by goals. Sometimes it's written by mistakes, by injuries, by rejected transfers, by forgotten paperwork, or by a signature on a napkin. The scary part? We're probably watching the next butterfly effect happen right now, without even realizing it. If you enjoyed this video, let me know which football butterfly effect shocked you the most. And if there are enough hidden stories, I might make a part 2. Until then, I'll see you in the next story.